Check. Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sound check.
We'll start in 5 minutes. We're just waiting for SDS Dong to come up. Yeah, nasa lobby raw. Organizational meeting of the following committees. Committees on Dangerous Drugs, Public Order and Safety, Human Rights and Public Accounts, otherwise known as the Quadcom, is now called to order. Before we start with the organizational meeting of the committee, may we ask the committee secretary to please lead the committee in prayer. Comsec? Okay.
Let us all stand.
On behalf of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, the meeting of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs is now called to order.
On behalf of the Committee on Public Order, this Quadcom committee is now hereby called to order.
For the Committee on Human Rights, this meeting is now called to order.
In behalf of the Committee on Public Accounts, the meeting is now called to order.
Let us all stand and place ourselves in the presence of God. Almighty God, we thank you for giving us the chance to gather together today. We gather here as public servants and stewards of your people. We humbly seek wisdom and guidance for our leaders as they organize these 4 committees into a joint committee, deliberate and decide as one in the pursuit of the common good. As congressmen and congresswomen address the pressing and urgent issues faced by the committees on dangerous drugs, public order and safety, public accounts, and human rights, we ask for your guidance to lead our discussions. Grant us the courage to confront these challenges with integrity, the compassion to understand the lives affected, and the clarity to see the path of justice and truth. May our efforts be rooted in respect for all people, and may our work reflect your love and peace. We seek your blessing for this assembly to have unity of purpose, and let our actions honor the responsibilities bestowed upon us. We commit this meeting to you, trusting in your everlasting goodness and mercy. Amen.
Thank you, Comsec. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng singanganan,
hanap ng puso sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Upang hihirang buyan ka ng magiting sa manlulupig. Di ka pasisiil sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na luwalhatit magsinta. Buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga ating ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
May we ask the committee secretaries of the four committees to please call the roll of its members. We start off with the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, COMSEC. Please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, we have with us Representative Arnie B. Fuentebella, our Vice Chair, Representative Romeo M. Acop, Vice Chair, Representative Richard I. Gomez, our Vice Chair, and the members, we have Representative Sancho Fernando Waminal, Representative Jervil Jinkebetrix Arlo Istro, Representative Raul Angelo Gil Bungalon, Representative Margarita Nograles, Representative Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Representative Raul Daniel Manuel, and Representative Bonifacio Bosita. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum for the Committee on Dangerous Drugs.
Thank you, COMSEC.
Okay, on behalf of the Committee on Public Order, the COMSEC is hereby directed to to call the roll of the members of the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The following members of the Committee on Public Order and Safety are present today. Representative Dan S. Fernandez, the Chairperson. Representative Abante, Representative Barbers, Representative Paduano, Representative Fuentebella, Representative Raul Manuel, Representative Acop, Representative Arrogancia, Representative Womenal, Representative Rodrigo Gutierrez, and Representative Bosita. That's all for the members of the Committee on Public Order. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
In behalf of the Committee on Human Rights, may I direct the COMSEC to please give the members of the committee.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. On the part of the Committee on Human Rights, the following members are in attendance. We have the Chairperson, Congressman Bienvenido M. Abante Jr., Vice Chairperson, Congressman Sia Alonto Adyong, Congresswoman Margarita Attorney Mix Nograles, Deputy Majority Leader, Congressman Joseph Jojo Lara, Congressman Danes Fernandez, Congressman Romeo M. Acop, Congresswoman Arlene D. Brosas, member for the minority, Congressman Raul Daniel Manuel, member for the minority, Congressman Ernesto M. Joniso Jr., Congressman Bonifacio Bosita, and Congressman Muhammad Khalid Dimaporo. With the attendance of 10 members, there is a quorum for the Committee on Human Rights, Your Honors.
Chairman, in behalf of the Committee on Public Accounts, COMSEC is directed to acknowledge all the members present. Please proceed, COMSEC.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. For the Committee on Public Accounts, we have the Chairperson, Honorable Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano, Vice Chairperson Jorvil Luistro, Honorable Yasser Alonto Balindong, Honorable Joseph Lara, Honorable Christian Esonabia, the Honorable Romeo M. Acop, Honorable Raul Angelo Bongalon, Honorable Johnny T. Pimentel, the Honorable Ivan Howard Ginto, and the Honorable Arlene D. Brosas. Mr. Chair, on the part of the Committee on Public Accounts, we have 9 members in attendance out of 31, so the Chair may declare the presence of a quorum.
Thank you, Comsec.
Thank you, Comsex. Now we proceed with the next agenda, part of our agenda.
Sir.
Please allow the
Mr.
chair.
The ex-officio, sir.
Ex officio.
Yeah, yes, that is what I'm going to say. The next part of the agenda is for the committee secretaries to call the ex officio members of the 4 different committees that are present in this hearing today. Comsec, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For this afternoon's meeting, we have with us the ex-officio members. We have Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales, Deputy Speaker David Suarez, Deputy Speaker Tony Petalbano, Deputy Speaker Yasser Alonto Balindong, Deputy Majority Leader Honorable Mix Nograles, Deputy Majority Leader Faustino Ino D, and Deputy Minority Leader Franz Castro. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Comsec. Are there any members whose name was not mentioned in our hearing for today? Since there's none, we now proceed with the next part of the agenda for today's organizational meeting. Allow the chair to deliver a short welcome remarks and as well as an opening statement of the Quadcom, being the lead chairperson of the said committee. Good afternoon, Honorable Co-Chairmen, esteemed colleagues. Welcome to the organizational meeting of the joint 4 committees referred to as Quadcom. This historical and unprecedented committee is the product of a resolution and privileged speeches which tasked the committee to address an urgent matter of national concern and importance, needing the consolidation of the investigations being done by 4 major committees, namely Committee on Dangerous Drugs, Committee on Public Accounts, Committee on Public Order and Safety, and Committee on Human Rights. It came about when things became clear that the 4 committees are investigating issues that are interrelated, interconnected, and intertwined. Our individual investigations confirmed the existence of big Chinese organized crime syndicate operating in our shores with the intention of undermining the security of our government. The investigations confirmed what we have long suspected. The syndicate has been operating for quite a long time already. This well-organized syndicate floods the country with dangerous drugs in probable connivance with corrupt officials and employees of the government, agencies, and possibly local government officials. Drugs destroy societies. Its uncontrolled proliferation was the main culprit why thousands of our countrymen were allegedly executed without benefit of due process. To date, we are painstakingly putting the pieces together in the hope of giving justice to the victims. As if the tons upon tons of dangerous drugs were not enough, the syndicate brought in hot money into the country to wash and launder in casinos and pogos. Once legitimized, the money is then used to buy influence in government. This influence enables the members of the syndicate to corrupt even more government workers who then issue identification papers, cards, and certifications based on falsified information, leading to their assumption of fake Filipino identities and citizenships. Agencies tasked to oversee and evaluate applications will have a lot of explaining to do, as they all invoke the so-called ministerial duties in accepting and processing applications. Once done, the syndicate formed corporations pretending to be Filipinos. the regulatory agency in charge, which never even bothered to undertake due diligence as to the real citizenship or citizenships and qualifications of those applicants, likewise invoked ministerial duties as their mandate in registering all these corporations. These dubious Filipino-controlled corporations then engage in a buying spree of properties, real estate, drug and pogo money being their main capital. Thanks to the great assistance of some local government officials and employees who facilitated these illegal transactions, of course, for a hefty fee or price, of course. To perpetuate this illegal activity, there has to be unlimited source of funds. Thus, drugs continued to flood our shores and pogos became the hubs of all kinds of criminality such as kidnap for ransom, murders, tortures, human trafficking, money laundering, cybercrimes, cyber scams, and other unspeakable crimes. Pogo, an entity completely alien in our culture until Executive Order Number 13 was issued, because a monster and became a monster almost overnight. In the guise of being a savior by bringing in much-needed revenues that the government may use for healthcare and other priority projects, Pogo turned out to be a dud and revealed its true color as the worst curse any government system could ever face. Pogos, in reality, became the faster vehicle for the members of the syndicates to come ashore and become legitimate visitors, investors, students, and even citizens. No thanks to the dozens of agencies empowered to issue all kinds of visas for a price, again, of course. That likewise empowered the syndicate to operate almost unnoticed and unhampered, and even protected by some members of our own law enforcement agencies. Now it becomes the daunting task of this new committee to continue in a unified and stronger front what the individual committees have started, in the hope of crafting legislative solutions as well as assist greatly in the prosecution and conviction of the perpetrators, conspirators, and masterminds of the whole criminal network. By unmasking them and exposing their activities through this wide congressional investigation, we promise that we will leave no stone unturned until we have finally solved the puzzle. So thank you very much and good afternoon to all our members present today. Representative Dan Fernandez, you are recognized. Our Senior Deputy Speaker, Congressman Aurelio Dong Gonzalez, you are now recognized for your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Dan, Chairman Abante, Chairman Caraps, and to our colleagues, members of these various committees, good afternoon to all of us. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. That is Edmund Burke. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 4 months, our country has been hounded by issues on extrajudicial killings linked to the previous administration, the war on drugs, continuous prevalence in the manufacture and trafficking of illegal drugs in the country, and the criminal activities associated with the now banned Philippine offshore gaming operators. We in the House of Representatives did not sit idly by, and we acted upon these issues with urgency and inherent resolve. In fact, the committees on public accounts and dangerous drugs, public order and safety and human rights conducted numerous inquiries to pinpoint the root cause of these issues and find the people accountable in perpetuating these human atrocities. These meetings were conducted based on their respective jurisdictions and prescribed by the 19th Congress, the rules of the House. This rundown of the recent investigations being conducted by the 4 committees. The Committee on Public Accounts investigated the anomalous and irregular purchase of 10,000 square meters of land in Mexico, Pampanga, wherein a certain A.D. Taiyang bought an agricultural parcel of land with an aggregate amount of 3 million pesos, which he later sold to the local government unit with an exorbitant price of 29.5 million pesos. It was later revealed that Mr. A.D. Yang is involved in a network of illicit activities with broader implications to national security. During the course of the investigation, it was found out that A.D. Taiyang is a Chinese national who illegally obtained a Filipino identity. He is likewise the CEO of Yatay Industrial Park and either an incorporator or connected with Yatay International, Omni, Sunflare, Golden Sun 999, among others. It was later identified that A.D. Taiyang is likewise an incorporator of Empire 999, where a 3.6 billion peso worth or more than 560 kilos worth of shabu were seized in one of their warehouses. Meanwhile, the Committee of Dangerous Drugs investigated the seizure of illegal drugs in a warehouse in Mexico, Pampanga. Again, the confiscated drugs last September 2023 is considered the biggest drug haul of the Marcos administration at that time. During the proceedings, information provided by the SEC linked A.D. Taiyang to a certain Willie Ong, both serving as incorporators of Empire 999. Both were Chinese nationals who are pretending to be Filipinos and who obtained fake certificates of live births, passports, and other documents. The panel found that ex-Duterte advisor Michael Yang's interpreter Lincoln Ong, a prominent figure of the Parmali scandal, is also incorporator of a firm with alleged ties to all other shell activities, including Empire 999. The committee then invited Mr. Michael Yang to shed light on the interlocking incorporators of all the corporations connected with Empire 999 Realty Incorporated. In his testimony, former Police Colonel Eduardo Acierto involved Michael Yang in the illegal drugs trade in the country. Just recently, Mr. Yang was cited in contempt due to his continuous absences in the proceedings and utter disregard for the invitation sent to him. On the other hand, the Committee on Public Order and Safety, joined with the Committee on Games and Amusement, discovered the connection of illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators of illegal drug operations. Last August 5, House officials led Speaker Martin G. Romualdez and myself, Committee Chairpersons Dan Fernandez, Antonio Ferrer, Robert Ace Barbers, Joseph Stephen Paduano, Romeo Acop, Representatives Johnny Pimentel and Janet Garin, and PAO CC Undersecretary General Gilbert Cruz visited Junyuan Technology Inc. Imbamban Tarlac, Lucky South 999, Gaming Incorporated in Porac, Pampanga, and a warehouse owned by Empire 999 Realty Corporation in Mexico, Pampanga, where the 3.6 billion worth of illegal drugs was found. Finally, the Committee on Human Rights produced considerable output composed of testimonies of the kin of drug war victims that can potentially be used as additional evidence by ICC prosecutors in their pursuit of justice against the bloody campaign of war on drugs on the previous administration. Dinaluhan po natin ang lahat ng committee meetings na ito. And in the course of these inquiries, I can positively deduce that the issues being scrutinized by each committee are correlated and intertwined with one another. There were identical and common personalities involved, and there are intervening circumstances and interwoven issues based on factual antecedents and were discovered during the hearings. Kaya naman, I called for a joint investigation by the 4 committees during my privileged speech last August 5 to warrant a holistic and comprehensive submission of a report of the plenary. A unified investigation will strengthen on trust. Consolidating resources will give us faster results, which more than ever is critical as we are racing against time. A protracted investigation is utterly unacceptable because the stakes are too high and too precious to lose. Through our collective efforts and iron-willed resolve, we can finally put an end to this menace. Magsisilbi itong makabuluhang legacy para sa ating lahat na bahagi ng 19th Congress. This will also be our major contribution in the current administration hopes for a bagong Pilipinas. On that note, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Nakalpong salamat.
Thank you very much, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales Jr. Before we acknowledge the next speaker, may we acknowledge the presence of Congressman Siriaco Gato, the Chairman of the Committee on Health, Congressman Bambi Emano of the 1st District of Misamis Oriental, and Representative Franz Castro of the ACT Teachers Party List. Thank you. Now we proceed with Congressman Dan Fernandez. You are now recognized.
Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Mahaba po to. 8 pages plus 21 pages. So 29 pages po to. Pero yung 21 pages po, we will be issuing to the different members. Ito po yung mga summary of issues raised during the hearings nung joint committee hearings that were conducted with Committee on Games and Amusement. Correct. Yung po mga testimonies, mga resource persons and witnesses, we will be giving it to all the members for their perusal para makita po nila yung naging tema nung amin pong hearing, nung nakaraang 4 na hearings. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. On behalf of the members of the Committee on Public Order and Safety, kinagagalak po namin at kami ay nagpapasalamat sa pamunuan ng Kongreso na kami ay bahagi ng malawakang investigasyon sa committee. Hanggang sa unti-unti nating natuklasan ang pagkakakonekta at kaugnayan ng mga key personalities sa bawat aspeto ng ating pagsisiyasat. The Committee on Public Order and Safety is mandated to look into all matters directly and principally relating to the suppression of criminality, including those on illegal gambling, private armies, terrorism, organized crime, and illegal drugs. As a matter of fact, the committee has been holding a series of hearings into the illegal buy-bust operations being conducted by unscrupulous members of drug enforcement units of the Philippine National Police. On July 5, 2024, the Speaker ordered a comprehensive congressional investigation into the criminal activities linked to POGOs. He declared that the move will underscore the government's commitment to curbing illegal activities and ensure that existing regulations are effectively enforced. He further stated that it is imperative to identify and unmask the masterminds and protectors behind the illegal POGO operation so that they can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Pursuant to the directive of the Speaker, the Committees on Public Order and Safety and Games and Amusements commenced the joint motu proprio inquiry in aid of legislation into the proliferation of criminal activities and unlawful acts linked to POGOs, with the end in view of recommending corrective actions. The congressional investigation shall further result in recommendation for the enactment of a legislative measure with the ironclad provisions against the resurgence of POGOs. The Committees on Public Order and Safety and Games and Amusement conducted 4 meetings with the initial hearing held on July 17, 2024 and succeeding hearings on July 23, 31, and August 7, 2024. On August 5, 2024, the committee chairpersons, together with the Speaker, the Senior Deputy Speaker, and fellow legislators also conducted an ocular inspection of Sun U1 Technology Incorporated, which is situated in the Baupu compound in Bamban, Tarlac, and Lucky South 99, which is located in the multi-hectare Royal Thai Court property in Porac, Pampanga. These POGO hubs have been shuttered following joint law enforcement operations conducted early this year. During our initial hearing, we found out that among the crimes associated to POGOs are murder and homicide, human trafficking, torture, prostitution, forcible abduction, kidnap for ransom, robbery, extortion, drug trafficking, cybercrime, money laundering, and tax evasion. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission presented a video on the extent of these heinous criminal activities linked to POGOs. Kung gusto niyo po makakuha ng mga videos, meron po tayo. Ibibigay po natin sa lahat ng mga members and even the torture victims for you to comprehend the gravity of the situation. The PAOK also presented a timeline of events in Bamban, Tarlac, highlighting the role of former Mayor Alice Lialgo in facilitating the establishment of POGO operation in that area. Also presented was evidence of alleged involvement of individuals like Xiyang Wang and Bernard Chua in the POGO operations. The committees also heard the testimony of Mr. Dilan, a victim of human trafficking. Meron din po tayong video ibibigay sa ating mga members. The committee also discussed so many related matters that include ang jurisdiction ng PAGCOR. Ano ba ang jurisdiction nila? Sa issuance ng executive orders and regulation covering offshore gaming from 2016 up to present. Ano ang mga responsibilidad ng ating pong mga LGUs? May kinalaman po ba ang mga mayors? May kinalaman po ba ang mga congressman? May kinalaman po ba ang mga senador? At may kinalaman po ba ang mga dating at kasalukuyang mga namumuno sa ating bansa? The crucial mission ng Bureau of Immigration is also at stake. The responsibility of the National Telecommunication Commission, the DTI, the DICT, at ating mga telcos companies in exposing the fraud committed by illegal POGOs in preventing the misuse of SIM card registration and distribution and in providing valuable data on internet usage. Importante din po yung AMLAC sapagkat dito po natin nakita ang koneksyon ng pag-ikot ng pera ng involved sa BOGO at ganoon din po sa drug syndicate. Further, based on the testimonies of the administrators of the Cagayan Economic Zone, pati na po yung sa APAB, pati na yung sa Aurora, the committees found out that POGO do not operate in these areas. During the succeeding hearings, the committees heard the testimonies of many personalities like Attorney Harry Roque, si Mayor Jing Capili, si Mr. Dennis Cunanan, Julian Linsangan, and among others, at marami pang iba. These all personalities that I mentioned, you can get the copy of all this report that we have submitted to all the members. The committees also heard the statement of our esteemed Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary and former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, as well as former PAGCOR Chairperson Andrea Domingo, into the proliferation of POGO operation. They noted that POGO operation were not prevalent before 2016. Bago po ang 2016, wala po masyadong POGO. But the situation changed after the issuance of Executive Order number 13 in 2017, which mandated the regulation of POGO operations. Mahaba pa po to. Pero iiklihan ko na lang po talaga mga kasama. Ayan, nagpapasalamat na po ang aking mga kasamahan. At yung matrix naman po that we created, we have the copy of the matrix about the investigation that was conducted by the poor chairman, and then we collated in one matrix. And so we will be giving that to all the members as well. Our investigation have uncovered preliminary findings linking POGO operation to drug trafficking and money laundering. The matrix highlights the interconnectedness of various individuals and corporations, demonstrating how seemingly unrelated entities are connected through shared incorporators business ventures, and financial transaction. As I have repeatedly stated, we need to ferret out the truth and identify the perpetrators of these illegal activities and hold them accountable for the crimes they committed and ensure that the victims of these crimes obtain true justice. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end by reiterating this quote. Ginamit na po ni SDS kanina yung quote ni Edmund Burke. Yun din po ang gagamitin ko. Wala na ako magagawa. Ginamit na niya. Ang sabi ni SDS, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Di ba? Tatagulugin ko na lang po. Para magtagumpay ang masasama, dapat walang gawin ang mabubuti. Kaya kung mabubuti po kayo, kumilos tayo. At kung masama kayo, huwag kayong kumilos. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much, Chairman Dan Fernandez of the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Before we proceed with the next speaker, please allow me to recognize Representative Micaela Swansing, Representative Chino Almario, Representative Zia Alonto Adyong, and Representative Khalid Dimaporo. Welcome to the joint committee hearing. The next speaker is the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. You are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What do we make of sufferings of our people beyond what they can bear? Have we ever imagined in our lifetime the loss of lives of so many women, children, poor and underprivileged, some of whom had become victims of vices of drugs and wrongdoings? Many of them, perhaps all of them, who were violently shot at, were innocent until proven guilty by the courts of law. And yet, none of those thousands instantly killed during the war on drugs policy of the past administration were exacted with justice. Our Constitution declares, and I quote, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor shall any person be deprived the equal protection of the laws." But this constitutional provision was unceremoniously blotted out by the blood and tears of the victims of extrajudicial killings. From 7,640 illegal drug suspects who died in police operations to a total of recorded 20,322 deaths for the period of July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017, or a daily average of 39.46 deaths. The death of one person is a tragedy. The deaths of thousands is an even greater tragedy. Isaiah 1:17 and Psalm 82 verse number 3 tell us, and I quote, "Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy." Today, the journey of ferreting the truth, seeking justice and healing of our people begins with this very important meeting. Good afternoon, honorable members and chairman of the Joint Committee on Dangerous Drugs, Public Order and Safety, and Public Accounts. The Committee on Human Rights has conducted 5 public hearings and 1 briefing on the alleged extrajudicial killings, or EJKs, committed during the implementation of the War on Drugs policy under the administration of former President Rodrigo Duterte. In the agenda were House Resolution number 14, introduced by Representative Raul Daniel A. Manuel, in privileged speech of Representative Castro, delivered in the plenary on November 8, 2023. pursuant to its mandate under the rules of the House, the Committee on Human Rights is cognizant that our inquiry in aid of legislation focuses on, and I quote, all matters directly and principally relating to the protection and enhancement of human rights, assistance to victims of human rights violations and their families, the prevention of violations of human rights, and the punishment of perpetrators of such violations. In the exercise of the constitutional powers of Congress to conduct inquiries in aid of legislation articulated in Section 21, Article 6 of the Constitution, the committee abides by the House Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation and have respected the rights of our witnesses of due process, interparliamentary courtesy, and legal processes required in the inquiry. Incumbent and former public officials from the Office of the President, the Philippine National Police, the Commission on Human Rights, the National Bureau of Investigation, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, the Department of Interior and Local Government, Office of the Solicitor General, and other relevant government offices were invited and heard during the hearings to shed light on pertinent issues in the inquiry. A total of 21 relatives of victims attended the hearings, together with the Rights Up for Life and for Rights advocates and legal counsels from the National Union of People's Lawyers and Center for International Law, and narrated the circumstances surrounding the deaths of their family members. The committee likewise issued invitations to the incumbent Senator, Honorable Ronald Bato de la Rosa, as well as the former President, Rodrigo Duterte, Attorney Harry Roque, former presidential spokesperson, DOJ Secretary Gizmin Remulla, and former Solicitor General Attorney Jose Calida. However, the aforementioned personalities failed to appear before the committee. The committee has identified the following as the key issues to be resolved in our inquiry. Number one, whether human rights violations have been committed against civilians, particularly on women and children, during the implementation of the anti-illegal drugs campaign of the Duterte administration. Number two, whether the state's obligation to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights have been fully adhered in the course of the anti-illegal drugs campaign. And number three, whether domestic and international human rights laws, instruments, and governmental policies have been adequate and responsive to the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights by obligation. Thus, please allow the chairperson to discuss the issues and findings in seriatim. As preparatory on the statistical data on the extrajudicial killings, the committee had been presented with multiple reports indicating that there had been massive nationwide drug-related killings within the period July 2016 to June 2022. The killings were classified to have been implemented by police operations, unknown perpetrators, similar to Sinaloa type of killings, which were notorious in Latin America drug cartel. The 2017 year-end accomplishment report of the Duterte administration highlighted as key accomplishments the deaths of 3,967 drug personalities and 16,355 homicide cases under investigation as of 30 September 2017. In addition, the PNP reported that there was a total of 7,640 illegal drug suspects who died in police operations. 2,053 of these were recorded in the first 6 months, July to December of 2016. Meanwhile, other government agencies and international human rights organizations, such as the CHR and the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, domestic human rights organizations, such as the Free Legal Assistance Group, and Third World Studies, University of the Philippines, Diliman, have their respective data vetted from their own investigations and information gathering devices. With CHR's investigation of the 3,900 cases of drug-related killings, it has observed that killings in relation to the anti-illegal drug campaign have been widespread, spanning across all administrative regions in the country. The UNOHCR reported in their report dated June 2020 that there were at least 8,663 drug-related killings as of February of 2019. Academic research from the HAS project of UP gathered around 5,348 recorded deaths. Attorney Chel Jokno of FLAG cited unassailable data which were stated in a Supreme Court en banc extended resolution that indicated that the Duterte administration's anti-drug war from July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017 recorded a total of 20,322 deaths, or a daily average of 39.46 deaths. The breakdown, which was culled from the government's 2017 year-end report, yielded the following: 3,967 drug personalities who died in anti-drug operations from July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017, and 16,355 homicide cases under investigation from July 1, 2016 to December 27, 2017. These findings of the statistical data of human rights violations leading to extrajudicial killings have been established by the committee. And although the real numbers may be varied depending on the source, what is palpable at this point is the fact that the number of killings had been highly significant to be ignored by the present government. On the first issue, it was confirmed that the police anti-illegal drug operations have resulted to multiple deaths. Number one, relatives of victims from Cebu City and Caloocan City have testified that there were PNP anti-illegal drugs simultaneous anti-criminality and law enforcement operations, or generally known as one-time, big-time operation, which resulted in multiple fatalities. It was deemed that most incidents of the said OTBT operations lacked probable cause, since the police officers did not issue warrants of arrest. Number two, there were rampant drug-related killings by unidentified perpetrators. The relatives of the victims who claimed that the assailants were unidentified as they were in civilian clothes and wore masks and bonnets. Some of the attacks were brazen, such as when assailants had intruded victims' houses and forcefully taking them or mercilessly shooting them dead, even in front of witnesses. There were those killed by unidentified men in motorcycles, or generally known as riding in tandem. There were also incidents that victims were found dead away from their houses with gunshot wounds, hands tied, or bodies wrapped in blankets. There was commonality of the targets, with victims being the drug list or perceived drug addicts. Killings were systematic, and that there was a conducive environment where perpetrators were given a sense of immunity. Number 3, there were varied and suspicious drug lists being referred to by authorities. As regard the drug list, various lists, such that the former president's drug list, were referred to by the authorities, and the process of producing the said drug list and delisting certain individuals from the list were not systematic and formalized, indicating a violation on the constitutional rights to information and due process. In the study conducted by UP Third World Studies, out of the 5,348 deaths, 51% of, or 2,709 victims of killings were accused of being drug pushers, and 34% or 1,831 belong to the drug watch list of the Duterte administration. Number 4, Oplan Tokhang, a policy of the PNP under its command, Circular Number 16, signed in 2016, was improperly implemented. The surrenders were not voluntary, since during the random knocking of the doors or the house-to-house visits, the police would require residents to provide information and undergo drug tests. The information provided to the police through this manner was not properly validated according to regulations. The voluntary surrender was considered an extrajudicial confession when there should be a signed confession in the presence of a counsel and a trusted witness for it to become admissible in court. If the person waives a legal counsel, there should also be a signed document expressing this concern. This process was violated. The drug testing that was implemented is considered a violation of the right against self-incrimination, and also a violation of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Law, wherein drug testing should be certified by the Department of Health. Moving on to the next major issue, on whether the state's obligations to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights have been fully adhered to during the course of the anti-illegal drugs campaign. The following state testimonies came about. Number 1, human rights advocates, former Senator Laila De Lima, and UPL lawyers, Attorney Nery Colmenares and Attorney Maria Cristina Conti, have identified and pointed to former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as the mastermind, instigator, perpetrator, and the person most accountable for the human rights violations. Senator De Lima said that the drug war was implemented as an official program of the Duterte administration. When he assumed office as president, he claimed that the consequent EJ case were deliberately carried out as part and parcel of the PNP Oplan double barrel upon Duterte's orders as president and chief executive from 2016 to 2022. In the academic research of UP Professor Sol Dorotea Iglesias, published in a 2023 journal Asian Politics Policy, it was shown that drug crime-related killings in the Philippines are statistically correlated with former President Duterte's term of office. Number 2, the CHR, based on its investigative report, rationalized that the government has failed in its obligation to respect and protect the human rights of every citizen, in particular victims of drug-related killings, and that it has encouraged a culture of impunity that shielded perpetrators from being held to account. It can be deduced from the testimonies and reports that there is a lack of interest from the PNP to investigate on drug-related killings. Some of the victims' families were denied by police officers when they tried to report the incident or requests for police reports, and some incidents were not investigated at all, while some cases also had no follow-up investigations by the police. The CHR and legal counsels of victims had also difficulties in gathering evidence from the PNP, with reference policy as an excuse to refuse access to police documents. Number 3, the PNP non-filing of cases against police officers involved in incidents of death died in police operations was alarming. Of the 6,486 reported incidents of depot, Brigadier General Matthew Bakay, Director of the PNP DIDM, disclosed that PNP had not filed any criminal charges against its own personnel. There had only been 52 drug-related non-laban cases which are being investigated by NBI, and these were referred to them by the DOJ. Number 4, the reward and quota system in the PNP during the war on drugs have surfaced. Police Major Emil Garcia, former Police Community Precinct 4 Commander in Batasan, is stated on record that Police Colonel Lito Patay, former commander of Batasan Station 6, required PCP commanders of Barangay Batasan to conduct tokhang operations in at least 50 households per day. Pulitzer Prize awardee Mr. Manuel Mugato reported in his Reuters investigative series that his source admitted that the reward system and quota system existed, which have been the motivation of the police officers at that time to engage in extrajudicial killings. If the police would not execute the killings, other civilians would be hired to do the dirty job. Number 5, there exists a pattern of the evidence establishing the state-sponsored killings, public vilification of the government against the victims who were allegedly involved in drugs, brazenness of execution of the victims in public places, and complete lack of interest of government to investigate or prosecute on drug-related cases. Finally, the third issue on whether domestic and international human rights laws, instruments, and governmental policies have been adequate and responsive to the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights obligations has also been addressed in the inquiry. The committee ratiocinates that there are available and adequate laws for the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights obligations in the country. However, there have been problems and failures in the execution of the laws, which resulted to unsolved criminal cases involving members of the PNP, which were manifested in some of the statements of the resource persons who testified in the hearings. Number 1, interpretation of the term negation and neutralization in CMC 16-2016. The procedure for those who have not voluntarily surrendered was espoused in CMC 16-2016, Section 4, and I quote, "Any person subjected to be involved in illegal drug trafficking who denies or refuses the house-to-house visitation shall be referred to the anti-illegal drug units for immediate case build-up and negation." End of quote. Police General Oscar Abayalde clarified that negation and neutralization are general terms used by the PNP, which means suspects were subjected to police operations such as arrest and the conduct of police investigation. But this was disputed by Attorney Jokno, saying that this is not the role of the police per PNP manual, rather that the police job was to collect evidence for case build-up and to arrest people engaged in criminal activity, and for them to only use lethal force in very limited circumstances. Number 2, Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service non-observance of its duty to file criminal cases against erring PNP officers in court per Section 39, subparagraph of Republic Act number 8551. Number 3, amendments to the PNP Rules of Procedure for police operations resulted in fatalities. Lastly, the inquiry is in aid of remedial legislation. The following have been initially proposed as possible areas for legislation. Number 1, enact laws that separately penalize human rights violations committed during or as a result of anti-legal drug operations, including drug-related extrajudicial killings by law enforcement and non-law enforcement perpetrators, planting of evidence, and extortion. Number 2, establishment or creation of an independent and impartial mechanism or commission to investigate and bring perpetrators of drug-related extrajudicial killings to justice. More importantly, those with command responsibilities, and provide adequate redress and reparation, rehabilitation, and support services, including access to safe houses, legal aid resources, and social and health care. Number 3, strengthen the power of the CHR to investigate cases involving human rights violations and abuses, including rightful access to police documents, right to receive regular reports of drug-related killings from concerned agencies, unhampered investigation, and prescribe criminal and administrative penalties for non-compliance. Number 4, a special law which shall define widespread abuses and violations of human rights as crimes against humanity. And number 5, mandatory autopsy of suspicious deaths. The committee considers the suggestion of former Senator De Lima, suggested that any investigation to the past administration's drug war must go back to the origins and history of the Davao Death Squad from its inception in 1988 up to 2016, because the nationwide drug war from 2016 to 2022 was an offshoot of a DDS experience in Davao. Set up an independent truth commission that will be tasked to know the facts, determine the people involved, and identify the pattern of the killings. Review Republic Act number 8551, otherwise known as the Philippine National Police Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, particularly Section 39, subparagraph C. In sum, the Committee on Human Rights has prepared its preliminary findings in its inquiry in aid of legislation and in hopes to collaborate with the other 3 committees of the Joint Committee and achieve our noble goals for our beloved country. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Chairman Abante. Next, the Chair recognizes our Deputy Speaker, J.J. Suarez, for his manifestation. You are recognized.
Thank you very much, Chairman Ace Barbers. To the different chairmen of the different committees, Congressman Joseph Paduano, Congressman Dan Fernandez, Congressman Benny Abante, to our Senior Deputy Speaker, Congressman Aurelio Dong Gonzales, sa ating mga kapwa mamabatas, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Isa pong napakalaking karangalan para mabigyan ng pagkakataon upang makapagsalita dito po sa isang makasaysayan na araw kung saan mag-uumpisa ang pagtatrabaho ng isang napakahalagang committee. Sa kasaysayan po ng Kongreso, ngayon lang po nagkaroon ng isang Quadcom. Isang committee kung saan binubuo ng 4 na mahalagang committee na gagawa, iimbestiga at magbabalangkas ng tamang batas, resolusyon, ordinansa para sa kagaganda at ikabubuti ng ating bansa. For the past 4 months, we have been following the proceedings in the Committee on Human Rights, Public Order, Dangerous Drugs, and Public Accounts. They have been investigating issues such as illegal acts, EJK, criminal activities, dangerous drugs, proliferation of terrorism that have an effect on our national security, the proliferation of online gaming activities, which serves as fronts for other illegal and scrupulous activities. And these illegal activities know no political boundaries, know no political color, and most definitely no committee assignments. So therefore, it is very important that the Quadcom be formed so that we can properly study how these acts of criminality and show to the Filipino people that they are not only intertwined, that they are not only interconnected, but they are coexistent to one another. They coexist in such a way that one cannot live without the other. And I would like to congratulate the 19th Congress, headed by Speaker Martin Romualdez, for taking this bold step towards ferreting out and finding out the truth. Because it is only through the truth that we will find the true path towards progress and development. The committee of the Quadcom, headed by the distinguished Congressman Ace Barbers, has my full support, and I look forward to the next hearings and proceedings, and I wish well. And I do hope that we enact the proper legislation that will benefit the Filipino people and put to justice those who are behind these criminal acts. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, for that manifestation. The next to deliver his opening statement is one of the co-chairs, the chairperson of the Committee on Public Accounts, Representative Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano. You are recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Barros. Mabilis na to, no? Kasi mahaba yung kay Dan at saka kay Chairman Abante. Anyway, to my co-chairman, committee members, a pleasant afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the organizational meeting of this Quad Committee. Before we commence with this crucial investigation, allow me to thank our Honorable Speaker, Speaker Martin Romualdez, for bringing together the 4 committees of the House to unite and fight for one great cause, that is to protect national interest and security. This inquiry fully demonstrates our institution's enduring commitment to uphold the rule of law, maintain public accountability, and safeguard every Filipino's rights and welfare. Let me give you a brief context on how the Committee on Public Accounts became involved in this historic investigation. On June 2023, the committee received sworn affidavits from a private citizen alleging violations in the procurement process and awarding of contracts of the municipality of Mexico, Pampanga, and the local government's unlawful act of entering into a loan agreement with the DBP for 950 million pesos. For the information of the body, these events have occurred during the incumbency of former Mayor Tede Tumang. In response to these serious allegations, the committee, with the concurrence of its members and the approval of the Committee on Rules, initiated a motu proprio inquiry to investigate the alleged irregularities. During our investigation, it became apparent that the committee was confronted with 3 initial issues. First, the regular procurement and awarding of contracts by municipality from 2007 until 2010, which covered 149 million worth of public expenditures. The Commission on Audit recommended that Mayor Tumang, along with other officials involved, should reimburse an amount worth 45 million pesos. Mayor Tumang has since claimed that he already settled the same, but question remain on how former Mayor Tumang managed to reimburse such amount. Second, the committee examined a loan agreement entered into by the municipality and DPP amounting to 950 million pesos for the construction and acquisition of various facilities which raised concerns about compliance with local government laws and regulations. Third, the acquisition of parcels of land by municipality from Mr. Eddie Tayang and the Pangilinan spouses for the proposed new government center raised suspicions of collusion to defraud the municipality of Mexico of public funds. Since then, the committee managed to take steps to address the aforementioned issues. While our investigation is still ongoing, the loan mentioned, the municipality was concerned, effectively preserving public funds and prevented taxpayers from being burdened with repaying an improperly vetted and unlawful transaction. The conduct of a comprehensive fraud audit on the questionable transactions between the municipality and Eddie Tayang and the Pangilinans was likewise requested, and COA committed to release the report by this month, marking a crucial step toward holding accountable any parties found to be involved. The ongoing issue of unauthorized conversion and reclassification of agricultural lands systematically acquired by Chinese nationals falsely representing themselves as Filipino citizens appears to be occurring not only in Mexico, Pampanga. This trend suggests a creeping invasion and a systematic undermining of national land use policies. In Mexico, Pampanga alone, vast tracts of agricultural land have been sold to corporations allegedly fronted by fake Filipinos as incorporators and reclassified as industrial lots, often with the collusion of members of the Sangguniang Bayan and the local chief executives. The Sangguniang Bayan has been accepting and approving applications for reclassification, even the legal requirements are not fully met, contingent only to undertaking by applicant to complete these requirements in the future. This practice constitutes a grave abuse of discretion on the part of the municipal council and demonstrate bad faith likely motivated by receipt of kickbacks from corporation purchasing the land. Considering the significant urgent nature of the issue of hand, the committee has requested the leadership of the House of Representatives to write an official communication to the office of the President, to direct Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, PAOK, and the Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLAC, for a freeze order or provisional asset preservation order from the appropriate court to effectively preserve the assets of Eddie Tayang, his partners, and the corporations in which they currently hold shares and interests. The findings of the committee underscore the alarming extent of potential illegal activities related to proliferation of Chinese nationals illegally acquiring Filipino citizenship. These situations call for heightened vigilance and stronger cooperation among government agencies, the legislative body, and the public to ensure that such abuses are curtailed. Only through collective efforts can the government safeguard the integrity of its institutions and ensure the welfare of the Filipino people remains protected from undue foreign influence and internal corruption. The committee urges stakeholders to remain steadfast in their commitment to transparency, accountability, and the enforcement of laws that are essential to preserving the nation's security and sovereignty. By working together, we can prevent the further erosion of public trust and maintain the strength and unity of our country. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Chairman Paduano. Before we move on to the next agenda, allow me to recognize the presence of Representative Patrick Michael D. Vargas and Representative Ray Reyes. Welcome to the Quadcom committee hearing. The next agenda are allow the chair to enumerate the measures referred to these joint committees. Number one, the privileged speech delivered by our Senior Deputy Speaker, Dong Gonzales, delivered in plenary on August 5, 2024. Number two is House Resolution number 1346, authored by Reps Aurelio D. Gonzales and Robert A. Barbers. Number three, House Resolution number 1351, authored by Rep. Jefferson F. Konghun. House Resolution number 14, authored by Rep. Raul Daniel A. Manuel. House Resolution number 1847, authored by Reps. Arlene Brosas, Franz Castro, and Raul Daniel Manuel. And privileged speech of Representative Franz Castro on the alleged extrajudicial killings committed during the Duterte administration, delivered in plenary on November 8, 2023. Motu proprio inquiry on the proliferation of criminal activities and unlawful acts linked to POGO or POGOs, which was previously conducted by the Committee on Public Order and Safety and the Committee on Games and Amusement. And the motu proprio inquiry on the alleged irregularities in the procurement process and unlawful contracts entered into by the Municipality of Mexico, Pampanga in violation of relevant auditing, procurement, and other laws, which was previously conducted by the Committee on Public Accounts. And House Resolution number... No, it's a motu proprio inquiry.
Yeah.
So, the Quadcom likewise authorizes the chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts to file a resolution to conduct an inquiry into the alleged irregularities in the procurement process, unlawful contracts, and real property transactions entered into by the Municipality of Mexico, Pampanga, in violation of relevant auditing, procurement, and local government laws. And likewise, render a report thereto on the identified issues that will be tackled by the Quadcom.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Paduano.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
Congressman Lara.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Parliamentary inquiry lang po, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Before that, Mr. Chair, nagpapasalamat ako na naging bahagi din ako ng pagdinig na ito, and of course, commending our speaker, our beloved Speaker Martin Romualdez, for forming this historic quad committee headed by Chairman Barbers. Sir, I filed House Resolution 166 investigating in aid of legislation the search of Chinese students in the HEIs in our province. Of course, this HR is also the privileged speech of Chairman Abante referred to the Justice Committee. And dito sa mga pagdinig ng joint ng drugs and other committees po, ay narinig ko din na intertwined yung issue namin. We had one hearing with Chairman Yoyet Ferrer. At on that meeting, nagkaroon kami ng executive meeting at lumabas po dito no, yung mga issues na tinatalakay din po natin dito sa apat po na committee. If I may ask, Mr. Chair, could it be possible also that said HR 166 and the HR of Kong Ino D, the proliferation of the acquisition of private lands in the province of Isabela, na po, as mentioned to me, kung posible po na makasama din dito sa ating
Yes,
pagdinig sa Quad.
Thank you, Congressman Lara. Would you know which committee was it referred to?
It was referred, my HR 1666 was referred to Justice Committee, and I've already asked Congressman or Chairman Yoyet Ferrer if it could be possible to refer it to the Quad, and she answered that she is very much willing to yield to the committee, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, Congressman Lara. We will now ask the committee secretariat to ask the Committee on Rules to initiate a change of referral in the plenary in order that we will not violate any provision of the rules of the 19th Congress. But rest assured, Congressman Lara, that the issue, which we all believe is intertwined in the same issue that we are going to tackle in the Quadcom, your resolution will likewise be considered.
Yes, Mr. Chair, kasi yung issue sa BI na pumunta doon at yung pumasok ng estudyante, tourist, naging estudyante, ngayon po na nabubulabog o na-stop ang pogo, it might happen po na itong lahat na ito ay doon na magiging entry point. So, very clear lang po ito, kaya ako din po hinihingi sa inyong consideration po, Mr. Chair.
The committee secretariat is directed to coordinate with the Committee on Rules as to the request for change of referral of House Resolution number 1666.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
Chairman, just a short manifestation. The resolution that was filed by Congressman Jojo Lara has been already tackled in the Committee on Justice. We have one hearing. Unfortunately, hindi natuloy yung hearing, no? Supposedly, yung second hearing should be scheduled after that executive session. Nag-executive session tayo, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
In regards to your House Reso. Now, since siguro na-miss out lang, but of course, sabi nga ni Chairman, we're now directing the COMSEC to coordinate with the Committee on Rules, no, for a change of referral. But of course, we have also to send official communication also to the Chairman of the Committee on Justice, no, para at least alam niya.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
At least official.
Just to echo yung sinabi ni na SDS kanina, to save time and resources of courts to come up with the immediate resolution of this HR, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman
Mr. Chair.
Paduano. Yes, Congressman Joe.
Also, similar request, Mr. Chair. This representation also filed the House Resolution number 1802 to probe on the proliferation of birth certificates and falsified passports of foreign nationals. This actually, Mr. Chairs, brought about by the ongoing investigation, partly of the Committee on Public Accounts, Mr. Chair. So this representation felt that there is a dedicated and separate investigation on the proliferation of fake birth certificates and fake passports. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Chair, there were, according to NBI, 200 plus falsified passports that were granted, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chairs, in Davao City or in Davao del Sur, rather, Mr. Chair. So we filed that resolution, Mr. Chair, and similar to the request of Congressman Lara, since I believe this investigation primarily touches on the issue of also POGO operation, because it is well connected with the issue of illegal transnational crimes and illegal operation of the POGO, vis-a-vis the falsification, the proliferation of birth certificates. I would also appeal, Mr. Chairs, that because this resolution has already been referred to, I think, Committee on Local Governments and Committee of Justice, if we can also do similar requests to the Committee on Rules to re-refer this, Mr. Chair, to this particular committee, maybe that would also widen the scope of this current investigation done by these 4 separate committees, Mr. Chair.
Are you the author of the
Yes.
said resolution, Congressman Jong?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I'm the author of House Resolution number 1802.
Okay, just like the decision of the chair that directing the committee secretariat to coordinate with the Committee on Rules with respect to the change of referrals of both your resolution. But may we ask the authors of the said resolution to please write a letter to the authors to where to the chairperson to where your resolutions were initially referred, so that they can use that letter to be their basis for a change of referral, and we will not violate any provision of our rules.
We will do that, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Okay,
Maraming
thank you.
salamat.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congresswoman Castro.
this is just a manifestation, Mr. Chair, and I know naman this Quadcom would like to have this accountability, no, as regard to the EJK, etong POGO, atrocities, at iba pa. While we are talking about extrajudicial killings about the dangerous drugs, imamanifest ko lang din, Mr. Chair, pero this is for your perusal, for your action, the Quadcom, to refer it to the rules. Dahil, Mr. Chair, related sa extrajudicial killings, yung mga patayang naganap sa panahon ni President Duterte tungkol doon sa mga aktivistang mga pinatay. At ang dami niyan at naka-refer yan sa Committee on Public Order and Safety. At alam namin, Mr. Chair, sa Makabayan, related din ito sa human rights violations. Mr. Chair, since the 18th Congress, we have been submitting several House resolutions about the extrajudicial killings of activists, individual din na nadamay, no, doon sa mga operations ng PNP, ng AFP, Mr. Chair, sa panahon ni Duterte. So can you, Mr. Chair, can you take cognizance then so that this could be referred to the rules for proper action, Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Congresswoman Castro. Yes, of course, the committee will take cognizance of all the measures, privilege speeches, House resolutions that will be referred to this Quadcom. In the meantime, since most of these House resolutions have already been referred to a different committee, may we likewise ask the authors of the said speeches and resolutions to write to the chairperson of the committees to where your resolutions were referred initially, so that we will not violate any provision of our rules before a change of referral will be done, because this would require a plenary action, Your Honors. So I hope we can do that as soon as possible, so that the committee, the Quadcom, can immediately take cognizance of all these resolutions.
Chairman, if I may, no?
Okay,
Because that is
Congressman Fernandez,
yes,
and then Congressman,
it was mentioned by Congresswoman Franz Castro that it was referred to Committee on Public Order and Safety. And I believe it was already tackled on the first, nasa second reading na ba yan? Or ano? Have we discussed that in the Committee on Public Order?
Wala pa, Mr. Chair, yung mga EJK,
And
human rights violations ng mga pagpatay sa mga activists. So nirefer sana namin ito sa human rights, pero it was referred to your to your
Okay.
committee, Mr.
I
Chair. Wala
got it
pa.
now.
Wala pa
Yes.
tayong nadidiscuss
Alright.
ever.
So the best thing to do is the recommendation of the chairman to change the referral of the subject resolutions. I think that was ano, no? Dalawang resolution nata yan no? That was filed. Isang resolution at saka isang House bill, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to check with the COMSEC, and then the right action will be the one that was discussed by the chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Congressman Fernandez. Congressman Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I saw Congressman Inudi a while ago, but he's not here. But anyway, Mr. Chairman, there's also a privileged speech by Congressman Inudi with regards to Chinese national also in Isabela. And it was referred to the Committee on Justice. And well, in fact, isang hearing na rin sila. So, Mr. Chairman, can we direct the COMSEC also to coordinate with the Congressman Inudi at the same time for the change of referral to this committee, Mr. Chairman? Thank you.
Yes, Chairman Paduano, the committee secretariat is likewise directed to coordinate with the Committee on Rules and the authors to where these resolutions were referred initially, as well as the privileged speeches that were also referred to the different chairpersons. So, in order for us not to violate any rules that we have agreed and adopted in this 19th Congress, COMSEC, you are directed to coordinate with the Committee on Rules with respect to the change of referrals of all these speeches and resolutions.
Okay, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
may also
Congressman
say something.
Manuel.
Yes, Mr. Chair, konting remarks lang as author of several of the measures referred to this joint committee, ang Quadcom po natin. Yours truly is an author of House Resolution number 14, ang pag-investigate po dun sa mga EJ case under the War on Drugs. House Resolution 1847 na nagsisik din ng pagbubuo ng joint committee. Tsaka meron din po tayong House Bill 10525 na bill po natin na gusto ding iban ang mga pogo. Tayo din po ay member ng 3 out of the 4 committees sa Public Order and Safety, Human Rights, tsaka sa Dangerous Drugs. And at first, Mr. Chair, nung una nga talaga, ang initial na perception ng mga kababayan natin ay hiwa-hiwala yung mga issue na ito. Usapin ng pogo, yung sa drug war killings. At ngayon, Mr. Chair, mabuti at nauungkat na natin talaga na ganito pala yung mga iskema na nangyari noong nakarang administrasyon. In fact, nandiyan pa yung mga pulis mismo na sila yung pumapatay doon sa mga kabataan natin. Tapos may mga indicators nga as mentioned sa mga press conferences na pinanggamit para bayaran yung mga pulis, para gawin yung mga patayan ay pogo money pa. Tapos may mga personalities ng past administration na involved naman pala sa illegal drug trade at andyan pa yung mga unlawful transactions to make all this possible. Ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, kung meron tayong ilang mga gusto talaga nating maungkat dito, yung una, yung pagiging peke. No? Kailangan nating ninipeke yung drug war ng past administration. Ginamit ito, yung pagpatay sa mga mahihira bilang cover-up na yung nangyayari palang drug war ay war laban dun sa mga kalaban sa ibang nasa ibang linya ng drug trade. Ganun pala yung naging iskema, kaya hindi natin talaga natumbok yung mga big names dun sa drug war. Sunod, Mr. Chair, common yung role ng police sa lahat ng mga ito. Kaya naman, in these grand, horrible schemes, kailangan yung mga top police officials ng past administration dapat ay dumalo. Kaya Mr. Chair, standing, I believe, yung invitation natin kay former PNP Chief and Senator Bato de la Rosa to answer questions. Mr. Chair, in terms of interparliamentary courtesy na gusto niyang i-invoke para hindi siya dumalo dito, we would like to inform him na merong president na ang isang member ng House of Representatives nga ay pumunta mismo sa Senado nung maimbitahan, former Kabataan Party List Representative Sara Ilago, dumating sa isang investigation. Which means, kung ang isang member ng House ay nakakapunta sa Senado to attend investigations, what exempts a senator na pumunta dito sa atin para din sumagot sa ating mga tanong. Pero ang ginagawa niya, Mr. Chair, kung ano-ano mga diversions, he even uses the platform of the Senate at pati yung resources ng taong bayan, Mr. Chair, for his diversions habang hindi siya dumadalo dito. Kaya, if he truly cares about Filipino families, if he truly cares about the welfare of young people, dapat umattend siya, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair. So clarify lang po natin na dahil ang invitation sa kanya ay galing sa Committee on Human Rights, I would like to clarify kung standing pa rin po ba na nung binuo na natin itong Quadcom, ang invitation sa kanya ay nandyan pa rin. Yan lang, Mr. Chair, for clarification.
Okay, thank you for that lengthy manifestation, Congressman Manuel. Answering your question tungkol dun sa standing invitation, yes, the committee recognizes that one of the member of the Quadcom has invited former Chief PNP and now Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa in one of the committee hearings of the Committee on Human Rights. And since all the activities and rulings of the chair of the Committee on Human Rights has now been forwarded to the Quadcom, we will take cognizance of the actions taken by the committee chair. And to answer your query, yes, the invitation still stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Congressman Fernandez.
I think there are certain issues that we need to be clarified because we have different separate committees. And different separate committees have already manifested their intention to elevate some certain issues of the different committees. I, for one, have elevated the issues of POGOs concerning a lot of things. And if I may, Mr. Chair, to elevate also the issue of the order of contempt and the detention of one of the resource speaker to be elevated on this Quadcom. But unfortunately, it was, no, not unfortunately, but it was moved by one of the members of the committee to continue the discussion of the POGO in relation to some, what do you call that, parochial issues, which is not in relation to the Quadcom, that to the issue that will be discussed in the Quadcom. So certainly, Mr. Chairman, there are issues that we need to elevate, but there are those that need to stay on the separate committees. I think the good chairman of the public accounts have the same kind of issue in relation to some pertinent issues that should remain on the Committee on Public Accounts. Same thing with the Committee on Public Order. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm elevating the issue of the contempt order on the person of certain Ronaldin Baterna in the Quadcom committee.
Thank you, Congressman Dan Fernandez. Your manifestation is likewise noted. And now the Quadcom takes cognizance of the action of the chair of the Committee on Public Order and Safety, most specifically the contempt orders and the detention of a certain resource person in his committee. So,
Mr. Chair, another short question.
okay. Is this a question?
Yeah. Kasi ano lang to continuing sa mga invitation namin sa AJK sa HR.
Okay.
Dahil, Mr. Chair, kahit naman nasa POGO kahit sa POGO, isa lang yung responsible dito na nagbigay ng policy. Kahit sa EJK ng mga sa ating mga EJK sa sa dangerous drugs ay isa lang din yung tinutukoy na responsible. So are we going to extend also our invitation to President Duterte since he is not already the president and he should answer the queries that we are going to make from him, di ba? Kasi si Senator Bato, so meron tayong invitation, and kung mayroong parliamentary courtesy, what would be the attitude of this Quadcom regarding President Duterte, Mr. Chair?
Okay, thank you, Congresswoman Castro. The invitation sent by the chair of the Committee on Human Rights in the last committee hearing they had still stands. As I mentioned earlier, whatever actions and rulings made by the chair in relation to the issue that the Quadcom will be tackling still stands. And meaning the invitation is still extended to the former president.
Mr. Chair, follow up. What if hindi siya pumunta? Anong gagawin natin? Kung hindi siya pupunta, ano po yung gagawin natin? Are we going to have, like yung, syempre, yung rules natin, like yung, bibigyan natin ng show cause order, contempt, are we going to use that procedure, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, can I interject, Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Before we answer siguro all the questions, I think we have to approve the ground rules first of the Quad Committee bago po natin may sagot yung mga iimbitahin, what are we going to do?
Okay. If the Congresswoman Castro would allow the chair to go on first with the agenda for today's hearing, as requested by our Vice Chair, Congressman Fuentebella. But let me just answer the question raised by Congresswoman Castro. You know, the House of Representatives respects and gives due courtesy to a co-member, a co-legislative body member, meaning whether he's a senator or a congressman, the tradition of interparliamentary courtesy exists, and the committee wishes to recognize that. Sa invitation sa ating former president, it is up to the former president if he refuses to attend. Again, anybody for that matter that we wish to invite will likewise be extended courtesy. Of course, as to the next action after the courtesy is extended, then the committee must rule and approve whatever actions we wish to take. In other words, for the Senator Bato and the former president, courtesy, and in deference to the former president, he should be given likewise courtesy. As to the next action, then we will have to decide on it when we come to that point. Now, since there are no more...
If I may, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
please.
And as
Congressman Fernandez.
And as a matter of courtesy to those personalities, we have to consider a lot of things as well. There are a lot of options that can be considered. And as a matter of fact, before going to the proper procedure of trying to have issue a show cause order or a subpoena, we deem it right that with the approval of the body that we need to have a lot of options. And along the way, we will find one without hurting yung relationship, no? But of course, at the end of the day, it is the member who will move for the invitation to those personalities. So let's exhaust muna yung possibilities that mag-explain din sila. For example, if they write a letter explaining the reasons, then the body can consider a lot of things. So most likely, we will cross it when we reach it.
Thank you, Congressman Fernandez. The next part of our agenda is the presentation and approval of the ground rules on the conduct of meetings of the Quadcom. All the members have been furnished a copy of the ground rules. If you have any comments or amendments to the said ground rules, please ask the chair to recognize you.
Mr. Chair,
Congresswoman Luistro.
may I respectfully propose that we include by way of amendment in the paragraph for conduct of meetings, 4, conduct of meetings. First paragraph, last sentence. A member of a committee who is also a member of another committee shall have a right to vote in each of the committee which such member is a member. That is to give clarity, Mr. Chair, to the preceding sentence that there will be, each committee must meet the quorum and voting requirements under the House rules and shall act separately on any matter, motion, or issue before it. Mr. Chair.
Okay, is that a motion, Congresswoman Luistro?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there is a motion to amend number 4, item number 4 in the ground rules, and to be amended as stated by Congresswoman Luistro. Are there any objections?
Second.
There is a second. Hearing no objections, the motion is adopted. The rule number 4 is hereby amended. Anything else? Any amendment from any member? Any proposal?
Mr. Chair,
Congresswoman Luistro?
if there is no other member of the Quadcom who wishes to move for amendment or revision of the ground rules, it is the intention of this representation to move for the approval of the ground rules.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion for the approval of the ground rules set by the Quadcom, duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved and the ground rules for the conduct of the committee hearings of the Quadcom is hereby approved. 1 minute suspension.
Mr. Chairman,
Congressman Fernandez.
yes, I have received a copy of the motion for reconsideration that was taken by the resource person that we cite in contempt by the name of Ms. Baterna. And I just received the copy of the supplemental motion that was relayed to me by the COMSEC. Since we have manifested that we will be moving to elevate all the issues of the POGOs in the Quadcom. So this issue pertains now to the decision of the Quadcom. But since I think we just received this reconsideration that she filed, then maybe we can discuss this on Friday when we will have our first hearing for the Quadcom.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Fernandez. Yes, allow me to confirm that there's a letter. We are in receipt of a letter, a motion for recon by one of the resource persons who were cited for contempt and detained, presently detained at the premises of the House of Representatives. Since the chair of the principal committee that heard the issue on POGO asks the chair to defer decision on the said motion for recon until our next hearing of the Quadcom. Are there any objections? So hearing none, the decision of the Quadcom on the motion for recon by Ms. Ronaldin Baterna is hereby deferred. Chairman Fernandez.
Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering if we're going to have a first hearing of the Quadcom on Friday. Would it be possible for us to invite the resource persons on that Quadcom hearing on Friday? Inviting separately, or we're going to invite all those resource speakers right now? Dito na. So I think with that, Mr. Chairman, if we're going to invite all those resource persons, so since I have people in mind to be invited already, I will be submitting to this Quadcom the persons to be invited on Friday.
Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Congressman Fernandez. Congressman Paduano.
Chairman, before we proceed with the selection of the invitees for next hearing, let me manifest and for the record, Mr. Chairman, that we have in our custody as of now, Ms. Daisy Quiros that was cited in contempt last week, no? But of course, the violation of Ms. Quiros was related to letter C of our Section 11, in violation of refusal to answer relevant questions in relation to the regular acquisition of properties in Mexico, Pampanga by Eddie Tiang and Associates. So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to manifest and put on record that the contempt order from Mr. Giro stays on the Committee of Public Accounts, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Paduano. So there are no other motions from any from the members present. We now proceed.
Mr. Chair?
Congresswoman
Mr.
Brosas.
Chair, I would like to be appraised yung sa Friday na Quadcom meeting again. Is it a hearing proper na, Mr.
Yes.
Chair? And it's an on-site hearing, Mr. Chair, in Mexico, Pampanga?
Okay.
Bacolor, Pampanga, ma'am.
In Bacolor, Pampanga.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just clarifying, Mr. Chair, kasi if we would want the witnesses to be there, kailangan po, limbawa, kung hindi naman related sa iba pang mga, hindi natin sila maiimbita doon sa on-site hearing. So we will reserve it for another hearing. No? Ganun na lang. Ganun, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Kasi kung hindi rin mako-question doon, because marami pang iko-questions or marami pang witnesses doon na directly involved doon sa Pampanga issue, baka sa next hearing na lang natin i-invite, ibig sabihin yung iba, na mga
Okay.
witnesses and ano.
Mr. Chair. The first Quadcom hearing will be on August 16, Friday. The venue will be Bacolor in municipality. The Senior Deputy Speaker will share the venue for the first Quadcom hearing.
Well, we will have the first Quadcom regular hearing in Villa de Bacolor Convention Center located in Bacolor, Pampanga. So, I will send you all the details at yun ang napili ng ating mga members and the chairman para doon natin po igawin yung ating, it is first, chairman?
This is the first.
First Quadcom public hearing. So, I'll set the sketch, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
What time tayo, Mr. Chairman? Anong oras? Start?
I think we'll
9?
start 9 in the morning.
9, okay.
10 in the morning. So the invitation will be sent to the members within today by the secretariat. So the comsecs of the 4 committees, you are directed as well to inform all the members of your respective committees that there will be a Quadcom hearing on August 16, Friday at Bacolor, Pampanga.
Pampanga. I think we will send also para malaman lang ng ating local government. Siyempre, Pampanga yun, ating governor, tsaka mayor ng Bacolor siguro.
Yes, Mr. Chair, let it be
Congressman Fernandez.
clarified that the reason why we're having a on-site hearing, we have decided, the members of the Quadcom, to have an on-site primarily because there's some resource speakers that nagiging reason yung nasa Pampanga sila, malayo, especially those incorporators that never attended our hearings. And that's the reason why we wanted to place the hearing on the site itself para at least hindi na rin mahirapan yung mga taga ron. And one more thing is that nagbabudget hearing po tayo. And because all the rooms are being used for the budget hearing, that's the reason why we're trying to go out and doon po natin mai-conduct yung ating hearing. So basically, Mr. Chair, I will be submitting all those resource speakers that will be invited on the next hearing on Friday.
Mr. Chair, just a manifestation lang, Mr. Chair, doon sa sinabi ni Chairman Dan Fernandez. Mr. Chair, kasi gusto naming makakuha ng kopya ng mga invitees na witnesses and so we can interpolate, so we can prepare for the interpolation for Friday. Kasi po, baka yung iba doon hindi namin matatanong, tas crucial pala na matanong. So Mr. Chair, gusto sana naming makakuha ng kopya beforehand, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the Secretariat, the Chair takes note of the request of Congresswoman Broses, and the Secretariat is directed to furnish copies of the list of our resource persons to be invited for our first Quadcom hearing on Friday. So, as soon as we're done with the list, we will provide the members the names of all the resource persons to be invited. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Kasi mahalaga yung agenda setting for that particular, Kasi para hindi din yung mga witnesses natin iba-iba, di ba? Kung saan siya bagay na pumunta, doon siya pupunta. Lalo na kung on-site hearing yun. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The manifestation is noted. To add to the information shared by Chairman Dan Fernandez as to the reason why we're doing an on-site, a public hearing outside of the premises of the House of Representatives. First venue will be in Pampanga because the drugs that were discovered in Mexico, Pampanga, as well as the presence of illegal pogos operating in the province of Pampanga, in Porac, and in
It started with the land irregular.
and likewise the land acquisition by foreign nationals in the province of Pampanga as well. So the next part of the agenda would be for other matters. If there are other matters any member would like to discuss, unless there are none.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Congressman Abante, you're
Can,
recognized.
can we have the hearing at 10 in the morning? Because we'll still be traveling and it will take about 1 or 2 hours from others to be traveling. I see, we can see here that many of our members are gone already. So,
Okay.
because they are very much involved in the budget hearing.
Okay.
And also, secondly, Mr. Chair, if we could be able to now talk about the resource persons that we would like to invite, some of them, perhaps.
Okay. Instead of 9 a.m., there's a request to do it 10 a.m. Any objections from any of the members? 10 a.m., August 16. Okay, so there are no violent objections from any member. Therefore, 10 a.m. it is.
Mr. Chair, in relation to what the good chairman of the Committee on Human Rights manifested with regards to the invitees that will be manifested on this Quadcom right here and right now, I think it is the right of every chairman or members to submit the invitees. But ako, what I feel right now is for the members of the Committee on Public Order to submit to us directly their issues that they wanted to tackle. But later on, I will be putting on the Viber group yung issues that we will be tackling with regards to the public order and safety issues, especially on POGOS. But of course, kung members will submit their invitation on the invitees already right now, then I have no reason to say no to that.
Okay. Thank you, Congressman Fernandez.
May I, Mr. Chair, may I inquire if the members of each committee can attend via Zoom? Do we allow attendance of the members via Zoom?
Nasa ground rules, di ba? Nasa ground rules. Via Zoom. It can be.
Yes, only if it is
Yes.
authorized by the speaker.
Yes, nasa ground rules.
Upon the approval of the speaker, it says.
I ask this question, Mr. Chair, because if Zoom will not be allowed, then may we request the committee secretaries to verify who the members will be attending so that we can ensure a quorum. Kasi out of town yan, baka magka-problema tayo ng quorum if we will not allow Zoom. So ngayon pa lang, or tomorrow, then dapat mag-head count na yung mga committee secretaries, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman Pimentel. Yes, we agree that, but the ground rule clearly states that online will only be authorized if there's an approval from the office of the speaker. So if there's a request from a majority of the members of the 4 different committees, then perhaps the speaker would allow and authorize an online attendance.
Mr. Chair, considering that this will be the first hearing of the Quadcom, kailangan may show of force tayo. So I suggest we will not allow the attendance of the members through Zoom. We need the bodies, we need the head count, so that we can show that the House of Representatives is in solidarity or united behind this move of the Congress. Ngayon lang po nangyari ito na may Quadcom. So this is a super committee. And then we go there to Pampanga, it's televised, and nobody is there. Puro naka-Zoom. I think that will be not good for us sa optics. So, Mr. Chair, therefore, I suggest that we will not allow attendance by Zoom.
I absolutely agree with you, Congressman Johnny Pimentel. Like what I said earlier, that the rules allowed it only after there is a tacit approval from the Office of the Speaker. Wala po tayong dinagdag dyan, and because even if there was a request and still the Office of the Speaker will not allow it, there will be no online hearings or attendance coming from the members. So again, the rules is clear. It has to have the approval of the Speaker to allow online participation among the members of Congress. Anything else would you like to discuss? It's very clear that kailangan ng approval ng Office of the Speaker. So wala na? Okay, meron pa.
I think we have so much that had been tackled. So I think we need the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn, again, I have some apprehensions with regards to the Zoom attendance. As I've said, this is a very historic hearing. So if it is proper, Mr. Chair, I would like to move that we will not allow Zoom attendance.
Okay, earlier we asked the members for their amendments, no? If there are any. Since no one has, except for Congresswoman Luistro, who has introduced amendments where the body has approved and adopted, is there a motion now to amend again the rules that we have just approved?
Mr. Chair, again, as I've said, if the body is amenable, I move that we amend the ground rules that we will not allow Zoom meetings in this case.
Okay. There is a motion. Julie,
Second.
Second, Mr. Chair.
No, Mr. Chairman, because all of our members who were here a while ago, they are attending the budget hearing on committee on the Department of Agriculture. Maybe I would suggest that maybe we can have a 2-minute suspension and the COMSEC be allowed to call those members even by phone, no? Makita lang po natin yung kanilang concurrence doon sa motion po ni Congressman Governor Pimentel, Johnny Pimentel. So at least we can somehow feel, no, that meron tayong approval doon po sa motion ni Congressman Pimentel.
Is there? Hindi, because the rules is very clear. Sinabi doon sa rules, the ground rules that we just approved, na kailangan ng approval ng Speaker. Oh, now,
with that, Mr. Chairman, probably the good gentleman from Surigao can
Mr. Chair,
withdraw
no
his
problem.
motion.
Anyway, it is upon approval of the Speaker, then we will request the Speaker, since it's the first hearing, kahit na first hearing man lang. Dahil na sa succeeding hearings, kahit na wala. So therefore, I'm withdrawing my motion and let the Speaker decide on this matter.
okay, the motion of Congressman Pimentel is now withdrawn. After explaining that the rules is very clear that there must be an approval of the Speaker to allow participation of our honorable members via online. So, any other matters you wish to discuss? There's now a there's a motion to adjourn. Okay, there's a motion to suspend the Quadcom hearings and duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is approved and adopted. The session is now suspended. Thank you again for your participation.